Hey everyone, it's Marianne. Today I'm going to talk about the 3 different pricing strategies for listing your home. The first is above market value, the second is at market value, and the third is under market value. So I'm going to say something maybe controversial, but I think most real estate agents would agree with me. The listing price means absolutely nothing. It is definitely important when you're listing your home to consider the listing price because it's going to affect the amount of exposure your home gets. So when I say that it doesn't mean anything, it's not to say that it's not important, and it's not important to know the different strategies and which one works for you. But just because you list a home at a certain price does not mean it's going to sell at that price. When it comes to marketing a home correctly, of course, photography and staging is super important. I talk about that all the time, but the list price is also important because that's the first impression that a buyer sees of your home when they're looking at it online. How do we come up with a market value? So when we come up with a market value, we're looking at the comps in the area, the location, the condition, any updates, special features, all those things bundled together is how we're going to come up with the market price. How we come up with what to list your price is a different scenario, and I'll get to that later. There's another thing that I want to talk about, and that is the perceived value of the home. There's the market price, which is what the home is worth, and then there's also the perceived value, what someone is willing to pay for that home. So for example, if someone sees a home and it checks off all their boxes, they may be willing to pay a premium for that home because it is their perfect home, it checks off all those boxes, and it's worth it to them. A misconception is that if you're paying a premium or if you're paying over the list price, that you're overpaying for the home. You saw the value in that home, so more than likely, a lot of people are going to see the value in that home. And as long as you maintain the home and make some upgrades along the way, that home will hold its value in the future as well. Another thing I always tell people is that no matter what, there's always going to be ways to increase the value and increase the equity you have in your home, whether it's just maintaining the home or making little upgrades along the way. You can paint walls, you can fence a yard, you can replace the roof. There's always going to be ways to add value to a home. So when I say the list price doesn't matter, what I'm really saying is that the list price is not the market price. It's not the market value, it's not the perceived value. The goal of listing a home is always to get the most amount of exposure for that home. You want the most amount of people seeing it, you want the most amount of people walking through it, and you want the most amount of people putting in offers, right? Because it makes it more competitive. So for the first option of pricing a home, pricing it over market value, it is by far the least recommended option. The reason is that not as many people are going to see that home if it's overpriced. For example, if someone's looking at homes only up to $350, that's the max that they can go, and you list it at $360, they might not even see that home in their alerts or updates. Another thing is, if people see that it's overpriced, they might not even want to walk through it because they think, 1, I can't afford it, and 2, it looks like it's not really worth that much. And they don't want to put it in an offer that's less than the list price. The other negative thing that happens when you list a home over market value is that you will likely need to do a price reduction. And when you do a price reduction, it's not the price reduction that is necessarily a bad thing, it's the days on market that people look at. It affects the perceived value of the home that I talked about earlier, which could in turn affect the amount that people are willing to pay for your home. So the second option is pricing your home at market value. So that is the value that you will likely get for your home. If the market value meets the perceived value, then that is where you'll end up. So it's not a bad method by any means. It's the most rational and safe method. It's going to give you a decent amount of exposure. It's going to allow the people who are looking in that price range to go in and see that home. So it's definitely a great method to use. It's probably the most often used. Number 3 is pricing your home just under market value. And I'm really excited to talk about this strategy because it's been happening a lot lately, and it seems like people are really catching on to this method and why it's so great. So pricing it just under market value is going to expose the home to the most amount of people, which is the goal. Of course, you want to get the most amount of people in there, and you want the most amount of eyes on that property. If it's priced just under market value, it's going to hit more people's inboxes and more eyes are going to be on that home. So if you've done everything else right in terms of having great photos, staging, and all that good stuff, and then people see the price, they're going to be thinking, wow, what a good deal. I have to go see that. So then you have the most amount of people actually in your home and not just viewing it online. What's been happening in today's market is that within 24 hours, most homes are getting multiple offers. And I've been seeing this method used on many of those homes. So it truly is a great way to list your home. If you get multiple offers, you have a competitive edge to drive up that price. So more than likely, the price of the home is going to sell a little bit over market value. There are pros and cons to each and every one of these methods. There is lots of different factors that go into listing your home and which method is right for you. For example, if you're listing your home above market value and you have a kind of strangely unique feature about your home, like say for example, you have a hair salon in your home, someone who does hair might be willing to pay that premium. So number 2, listing at market price is definitely the safe and trusted way to list a home. So there's pros and cons with that as well. And then the third method, there might be some reasons why you wouldn't want to list it under market value. Say for example, like I said earlier, your home has unique features and maybe some things that are a little bit less marketable about it. You might not want to list it a little bit under market value. But this is why it's good to talk over all 3 of these choices with your real estate agent and figure out which is best for you. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, call me with any questions. My contact information is down below. I'm Marianne with Indulge Property, and until next time, bye.